Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. Visa 7, your personal guide to the world.
Are you interested in working in the UK temporarily? This guide covers everything you need to know about the UK temporary work visa, including eligibility requirements, the application process, costs, and more. Discover if you're eligible and how to apply for a temporary work visa in the UK. If you are looking to work in the United Kingdom, UK, as a private servant in a diplomatic household or for an overseas government or recognized international organization, then you may need a temporary work, international agreement visa. In this article, we will provide an overview of the UK temporary work visa, its eligibility criteria, the application process, and other relevant details. UK temporary work visa. The temporary work, international agreement visa is a type of visa that allows individuals to work in the UK if they will be contracted to do work covered by international law or treaty. This includes working for an overseas government or recognized international organization, as well as serving as a private servant in a diplomatic household. This visa has replaced the temporary worker, international agreement worker visa, T5. Eligibility criteria. To be eligible for a temporary work, international agreement visa, you must meet the following requirements. Sponsorship. You need to be sponsored by a licensed employer before you can apply to come to the UK. The work you do in the UK must relate to the work of your sponsor organization. Certificate of sponsorship. You must have a certificate of sponsorship from your employer. This certificate includes information about the job you have been offered and the duration of your stay in the UK. Identity proof. You need to prove your identity as part of your application process. Financial requirements. You need to prove that you have enough personal savings to support yourself during your stay in the UK. The amount of money you need to show depends on your situation. Immigration history. You must have a good immigration history and not have any criminal convictions or immigration violations. If you meet these requirements, you may be eligible to apply for a temporary work, international agreement visa. Application process. To apply for a temporary work, international agreement visa, you must follow these steps. Check your eligibility. Before you apply, you should check your eligibility to make sure you meet the requirements. Get a certificate of sponsorship. You need to be sponsored by a licensed employer and have a certificate of sponsorship from them. Apply online. You can apply for a visa up to 3 months before the day you are due to start work in the UK. You will need to fill out an online application and provide your documents. Prove your identity. As part of your application process, you will need to prove your identity. You may need to attend an appointment to do this. Wait for a decision. Once you have applied online and provided your documents, you will usually get a decision on your visa within 3 weeks if you are outside the UK, and 8 weeks if you are inside the UK. Pay the fees. You will need to pay the application fee and healthcare surcharge, as well as prove you have enough personal savings. UK temporary work visa fees. The fees for a temporary work, international agreement visa include the application fee and healthcare surcharge. The application fee is £259 for each person applying, and the healthcare surcharge is usually £624 per year. You will also need to prove you have enough personal savings. How long it takes. You can apply for a visa up to 3 months before the day you are due to start work in the UK. This date is listed on your certificate of sponsorship. As part of your application, you'll need to prove your identity and provide your documents. You may need to allow extra time if you need an appointment to do this. You'll find out if you need one when you start your application. Receiving a UK temporary work visa decision. Once you have submitted your application and provided all necessary documents, a decision on your visa will usually be made within 3 weeks if you are outside the UK and 8 weeks if you are already inside the UK. If you require a quicker decision, you may be able to pay for expedited processing, the details of which will vary depending on whether you are inside or outside the UK. How long you can stay in the UK. The length of time you can stay in the UK depends on the type of work you do. If you are an overseas government worker or international organization worker, You can stay for up to 2 years or the time given on your certificate of sponsorship plus up to 14 days, whichever is shorter. If you are a private servant in a diplomatic household, you can stay for up to 5 years. You can apply for up to 2 years at a time or the time given on your certificate of sponsorship plus up to 14 days, whichever is shorter. When you can enter and leave. You can enter the UK on the date your visa starts, which is stated on your visa sticker or in your decision letter. You should not try to enter the UK before this date, as you may be refused entry. Once you enter the UK, you can stay for the duration of your visa, as long as you comply with the visa conditions. You can leave and re-enter the UK multiple times during the validity of your visa. It's important to note that if your job finishes early, you may be asked to leave the UK within 60 days. However, if your visa has less than 60 days remaining, it's unlikely that you'll have to leave. In case you want to stay in the UK beyond the end date of your visa, you must apply to extend it before it expires. Failing to do so can result in you becoming an overstayer, which can have serious consequences such as being banned from returning to the UK in the future. Therefore, if you're unsure about your visa status or want to extend your stay in the UK, you should seek legal advice to avoid any complications. Other relevant details. The processing time for a UK temporary work visa can vary depending on the visa type and the location of the applicant. The processing time for a Tier 5 temporary worker visa is usually within 3 weeks, while the processing time for a Tier 2 intra-company transfer visa can be up to 3 months. The UK temporary work visa does not provide a route to settlement, permanent residence, in the UK. However, it can be a pathway to a longer-term visa or settlement in some cases. The visa holder is allowed to bring their dependents, spouse, partner, and children to the UK, but they may need to provide additional documents and pay additional fees. Bottom line. In conclusion, the UK temporary work visa provides foreign nationals with the opportunity to work in the UK for a limited period of time. The eligibility criteria, application process, and cost vary depending on the visa type, but with careful preparation, the process can be straightforward. If you are considering applying for a UK temporary work visa, it is advisable to seek professional guidance to ensure that you meet all the requirements and submit a strong application.